Denver, just overnight from everywhere. Less than 15 hours from London, less than 24 hours from the far reaches of the Pacific. In the continental United States, Denver is a key spot on the shortest, most direct coast-to-coast air routes. 6 hours from New York, 3 hours from Chicago, 4 hours from the Pacific coast. Radiating from Denver like the spokes of a wheel to the principal points of the compass are the routes now flown by 4 major air transport companies. Here at Stapleton Airfield, named for Rotarian Mayor Ben Stapleton, arrive and depart each day the planes of Brannan. And the planes of United, and of Continental, and of Western Air. This municipally owned airport is located but 15 minutes from the site proposed for the headquarters building of Rotary International. Railroads of the West, as travelers all know, provide unexcelled passenger service to Denver with streamlined trains. The Rocky Mountain Rocket of the Rock Islands from Chicago and the east. The Texas Zephyr of the Colorado and Southern from Dallas on the southwest. The Denver Zephyr of the Burlington. And the Union Pacific, city of Denver. Both of these trains are from Chicago and the east. The Missouri Pacific Rio Grande Colorado Eagle from St. Louis and the southeast. Santa Fe, California Limited from Los Angeles. And the Rio Grande Exposition Flyer from San Francisco and Salt Lake. All are modern transcontinental trains, emphasizing Denver's importance as a rail terminal. Railroad confidence in Denver's increasing importance is shown by this glimpse into the future from the Vista Dome of an experimental car now being operated on the Exposition Flyer. This type of car will be featured in the new streamlined transcontinental train through Denver on a direct central transcontinental route just overnight from Chicago and only a day's run from California. The Vista Dome, an elevated portion in the center of each car, will offer new thrills to the traveler by providing an unrestricted view in every direction of Colorado's matchless scenery. From the dome of the Colorado State Capitol, Denver spreading out before us in a magnificent panorama. Its glorious civic center and municipal buildings symbolizing the progressive, aggressive spirit of the men and women who founded this great western metropolis. The U.S. Mint, where precious metals wrested from the boundless wealth of the Rockies are coined. Exactly a mile above sea level stands the Colorado State Capitol, the dome covered with pure leaf gold from Colorado's own mines. Downtown Denver is beautified by the U.S. Post Office building of pure white Colorado marble. It's across the street from the new United States Customs building. Denver is called the second capital of the United States because it has more permanent federal employees than any other city save Washington. Denver is a city of homes. Many are pretentious, but it is essentially a city of smaller homes with an unusually high ratio of home ownership. Cost of living is low. Department of Labor Statistics, covering 20 leading cities of the country, list Denver next to the lowest in living costs for a manual worker's family of 4. Denver's school system is outstanding. Progressive curricula and teaching staffs of high caliber are matched by modern buildings and facilities. The University of Denver, 15 minutes from the downtown business district, a truly great university reflecting the high cultural standards of this favored city. The Chamberlain Observatory, housing one of the world's largest refracting telescopes. Colorado Women's College, also within the city limits. The University of Colorado at Boulder is less than an hour from Denver. Its beautiful campus, nestled against the flanks of the Front Range of the Rockies, symbolizes its high rank as one of the nation's leading universities. With its beautiful natural setting and ideal year-round climate, Denver has just naturally made generous provision for recreational activities. With 35 improved parks and many directed playgrounds, swimming pools, and bathing beaches, Denver has more outdoor recreational facilities than many other cities 2 or 3 times its size. 4 municipal golf courses and several club courses providing a challenge for America's best golfers. The Cherry Hills course has been host to the National Open and the PGA tournaments and has won the high esteem of all golfers. Cheeseman Park, most centrally located of the larger municipal parks, and it's literally the front yard of the site proposed by the Rotary Club of Denver for the international headquarters, a source of inspiration to Rotary idealism. The boundaries of the Rotary headquarters site and Cheeseman Park merge. Here, on almost 19 acres of the highest ground within Denver's corporate limits, is the suggested site, the most valuable piece of unimproved land in the city. Jagged skyline of towering peaks extends 150 miles on a 180-degree arc, all within 2 hours of the site. At the extreme southern end, Pikes Peak, America's most famous mountain, silhouetted against the evening sky. On the brief trip from Denver to Colorado Springs, passengers catch a glimpse of Pikes Peak, silver-tipped outer sentinel of the Rockies. At Colorado Springs are some of the finest hotels in the world for visitors who come to enjoy life beneath the friendly shadow of old Pikes Peak. Spacious grounds with a wide variety of recreational facilities at the world-famous Broadmoor. One of the legendary thrills here in the Colorado Springs region is the ascent of Pikes Peak by way of the famous old cog railway. It's possible to reach the summit by automobile or on horseback or on foot as I did it. But up the cog road, it's like a ride deluxe to the top of the world, up to 14,110 feet. Crystal pools like sparkling jewels studding the slopes far below. The mountain defied the attempt of its discoverer, Lieutenant Zebulon Pike, to scale it back in 1806, and Zeb Pike died not knowing that the peak was to herald his name. On the observation platform, high up here in the exhilarating ozone of the lofty Rockies, Here we feel as if we are standing on the world's shoulder, with some 60,000 square miles spread out before us in all its grandeur. Shifting clouds use the sky as a canvas and paint for us a scenic backdrop to the lofty summit house. Nor could we pass up an opportunity to visit America's best-loved travel wonder. That's what it has long been called. The Royal Gorge, a short distance from the Transcontinental Highway, US 50. The mighty Grand Canyon of the Arkansas is easily accessible by auto as well as by train. How about a drive over the world's highest bridge, suspended by giant steel cables from sheer rock cliffs? This mighty chasm was gouged from the solid rock through countless centuries by the rushing, tumbling, sand-laden waters of the Arkansas that now roll and plunge more than 1,000 feet below us. Down there, too, are the tracks of the Rio Grande. Snaking its way through this narrow cleavage, it looks just like a toy train. The hanging bridge of the Rio Grande. Canyon walls only 30 feet apart, tracks suspended from steel trusses embedded in the cliffs on either side, with the highway bridge a mere dark streamer across a narrow strip of that sky. Giant 5,400 horsepower diesel locomotives pulling heavily laden freight trains prove that this scenic steel highway is likewise a busy avenue of commerce. Back again at the headquarters site, the dial points almost due west, toward Mount Evans this time, patriarch of the Front Range. That majestic peak is less than 90 minutes away by automobile. A broad highway takes us up to the Idaho Springs region, where the discovery of gold led to the historic trek of the 59ers who gave Denver its real beginning. On the way to Mount Evans, everyone pauses at Echo Lake, 2 miles above sea level, to revel in the peace and serenity. The Mount Evans Highway is the loftiest automobile highway in the world. Summit Lake, 12,740 feet elevation, formed in the cone of an extinct volcano, and its depth has never been determined. Perpetual snowbanks speed the mighty rivers that flow from here to the far-off Mississippi. The summit, 14,260 feet, sublime grandeur, the inspiration of which guided pioneer empire builder William J. Evans, for whom the peak is named. Mayor Stapleton and other Denver Rotarians find this symbolic of the vision of Rotary. Appropriate indeed that Rotary clubs of the Rocky Mountain region saw fit here to erect a memorial dedicated to the service and pleasure of all mankind. Unveiled in June 1941, after the 32nd Annual Convention. Unveiled by President Tom Davis, acting in behalf of former President Armando de Arruda Pereira of Brazil. Back again at the site for a glance to the northwest, toward James Peak, named for Dr. Edwin James, who was the first explorer to reach the summit of Pikes Peak. Through tunnels carved from the solid rock, this is Denver's gateway to the west. The modern highway leads to Central City, once known as Gregory Diggings, the richest square mile on earth. Once the scene of boisterous frontier revelry, but Central City has now just about reached the ultimate in culture through the annual Play Festival, sponsored by the University of Denver and featuring Metropolitan Opera stars. Central City Opera House, which attracted foremost actors of yesteryear, now enriched in its glory. James Peak is pierced by the 6 2/10 mile long Moffett Tunnel, a pioneer dream come true. The Moffett Tunnel, route of the Rio Grande Railroad, placing Denver on its first direct transcontinental railroad. Proud of being one of the only 7 transcontinental systems linking the Middle West with the Pacific coast, the Rio Grande helped Denver gain unique industrial prominence during the war. Landing craft that stormed the rocky atolls of the Pacific started out on railroad cars speeding along the direct route from the mountains here to the sea. From the headquarters site, the endless procession of mountain beauty continues on and on, turning this time to the extreme north, where Long's Peak proudly identifies the location of Rocky Mountain National Park. The park is accessible by no less than 4 modern highways. This approach leads to the canyon of the Big Thompson River. Myriad trout streams lure devotees of fishing. Followers of Isaac Walton can toss a line in almost any Colorado stream and find their challenge accepted by the wily trout. Fishing is good even in streams as close to cities as the Big Thompson, because the Colorado State Game and Fish Department plentifully stocks every promising stream with trout 7 inches or longer. Colorado operates 19 hatcheries stocking streams with trout and 2 for warm water fish. Planting last year totaled more than 20 million fish. It isn't necessary to be an expert to enjoy the thrills of landing a scrappy trout. This young lady really had him hooked, and when she finally netted her prize, Mr. Trout didn't have much fight left. Stately Stanley Hotel, one of many hotels, lodges, and dude ranches that enable the Rocky Mountain National Park visitor to rough it, well, shall we say, in comfort. Long's Peak, one of the most readily recognized peaks in the country. It can be seen from practically any point in the more than 252,000 acres of the great park, into which annually throng more than 650,000 visitors. Rocky Mountain National Park lies right in the heart of the Rockies and includes some of the most picturesque portions of the ranges. Though Long's Peak, rearing skyward 14,255 feet, is its high point, there are also within boundaries of the park 65 named mountains more than 10,000 feet in elevation, of which 42 have an altitude exceeding 12,000. Bear Lake, in an amphitheater of rugged peaks, one of the park's many crystal lakes. A favorite starting point for trips on horseback into the surrounding mountains. Qualified guides lead the way, and sure-footed mountain horses provide dependable transportation over spectacular trails. Hikers, too, find new scenic thrills around each turn of the winding trail. Another view of lofty Long's Peak is revealed. There's an age-old glacier. Every summer, hosts of Rotarians speed to the Rockies. Many would stop at the Rotary Shrine in Denver and receive added zeal for the ideals of Rotary. Wayside floral beauty, the dainty, delicate columbine, Colorado's glorious state flower, blooming in profusion in shady nooks and glens during the early summer season in the Rocky Mountain National Park. Across the Great Divide at the extreme western edge of the park lies glacier-born Grand Lake, source of the roaring Colorado River, the Colorado that starts here on its 1,400-mile journey to the Gulf of California. Here on the western slope of the American continent, after a breathtaking trip, Denver is but 2 short hours away. Grand Lake, renowned as the highest yacht anchorage in the world, although its altitude is 8,000 369 feet, its crystal clear waters nevertheless entice the swimmers, too. Even tiny forest creatures become friendly in this scenic paradise. Yes, Denver is magnificently situated. There is no doubt about that. Pikes Peak, Mount Evans, James Peak, Long's Peak, the furthermost reaches of this mountain wonderland, all within 2 hours or less of Denver. Little wonder that many choose to linger on until autumn's magic paintbrush adds splashes of russet and gold, heralding the approach of new delights that accompany the winter season. Hub of Denver's own mountain park system, Evergreen Lake. In winter, it has a fairyland splendor. Flashing blades of skaters, young and old, novice and professional. There's fun for everyone on its glassy surface. The grace and skill of world-famous skaters lends a touch of pageantry. Winter highways are pleasure ways here. They lead in a brief hour's drive to nationally famous ski courses at Berthoud Pass and Winter Park, or farther on to Aspen, greatest ski center of them all. The Rockies in winter dress, majestic peaks and blue-green valleys of spruce, set against a background of all-encompassing white. Ski slopes and trails of Colorado have been acclaimed by ski experts from everywhere, acclaimed as the equal of any in the world. Snow conditions are just right because of frequent falls of dry powder snow, the dream of every ardent skier. 30 mountain parks. This is Denver's playground. Herds of buffalo with memories of the famous buffalo hunter and Indian scout, Colonel William F. Cody, Buffalo Bill, whose grave atop Lookout Mountain overlooks boundless plains, where Buffalo Bill once was king. Room for everyone, family picnics or gatherings of thousands. There's an ideal spot for a group of any size. On Genesee Mountain, modern facilities are provided, keeping alive the spirit of the Old West, modern red men in colorful costumes. Hundreds of resort hotels, guest ranches, and modern cottage camps are clustered throughout Denver's area of mountain parks. This one is typical, and like most of the others, is only minutes from the Rotary site. Red Rocks Park, only 10 miles west of Denver. Here, where the Great Plains break into the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, red sandstone has been fashioned by erosion through countless ages, fashioned into grotesque form. In 1936, construction was begun on an open-air theater, the Natural Auditorium, in the center of this park. It followed the basic plan determined by the existing rock formation. 3 giant red sandstone monoliths outline the perimeter of the huge sloping open area, which has uncanny acoustic properties. On the night of Sunday, June 15, 1941, beneath soft moonlit filtering clouds, 9,000 persons participated in a spectacle that made history for both Denver and Rotary International, the official opening of the Rotary Convention and the official dedication of Denver's Theater of the Red Rocks. The highlight was a stirring plea for peace and friendship between nations. It was made by Senor Pereira of Brazil, then Rotary's international president. Back at the site, where Rotary International headquarters will command its inspiring vista, here the staff, international officers and committeemen, will find uplift, efficiency, and convenience. Accurate estimates prove utility can be combined with beauty and inspiration. Under the Denver plan, The beautiful marble headquarters building and the entire 19 acres would be paid for in full in about 16 years by savings over the present cost of rental. Here is a plan that looks to the future for many years. The Denver Club and District 113, as well as several hundred outstanding Rotarians the world over, urge your interest and ask your help to make this glorious dream come true. Rotary International must radiate its ideal of service in a bright new world of peace and prosperity. To find inspiration, lift up your eyes to the changeless tranquility of the Rocky Mountains. Yes, Rotarians, Denver is the land of your dreams.